Yo, what's up everybody? Holding Ash with you here, bringing you Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaibe anime review. This is episode 20 titled Pretend Family. This was a very intriguing episode. Basically he's out of breath, he's tired, he's fatigued, all that. And he's calling to his sister's side, and he's thinking he ripped off he cut off the demon's head because that's what we saw. But then he notices that the smell of the demon gets stronger, and he's like, wait, I don't smell ash. What's going on? So when he looks behind him, he sees a whole bunch of string carrying the head, and the body is moving towards him. And he's like, oh, but you thought you cut off my head? Did you get pleasure thinking you got victory? No, before you get to actually cut off my head, I used my own string to cut my own head off, so you wouldn't be able to hit me with your sword. And he was like, now you and your sister are both gonna die. I'm tired of both of you, and you're both aggravating me. And Tanjiro is like, he's helpless. He's trying to calm down. He's trying to breathe. He's trying to gather up his breathing technique for his sword. And it's not working because he's just too tired and fatigued. But again, he got saved by giyuu. Giyuu comes in and he saves Tanjiro, and we find out that giyuu, we already knew that he had his water breathing technique just like Tanjiro, but we see him use a technique that Tanjiro didn't know that exists. He has the 11th form, and I believe it was called Dead Seal or Dead Ocean, something like that. And basically, the spider demon Ryu, he sent all these crimson threads at him to rip him apart. But when they got into his area of the Dead Sea, everything just fainted and disappeared, and it just vanished. And he was like, what happened? What's going on to my string? And Giyuu just keeps walking up to him, slow motion, all swagged out. And he was like, I'm not gonna let you. And he didn't get to continue what he said. And Giyuu, as you see in one of my thumbnails, just passed by him like in Bleach style fatigue and just silently cut off his head. And it was done for him. But before he became ash and dissipated, we get to see his backstory. And basically what it is, we get to see the backstory, but it's not really from his perspective. It's more from his little sister, she's scared and she's trying to run away. It's more in her perspective. We get to see the backstory of how she joined. And basically what he was doing, Ryu, was that since he got permission from Muzan, he would gather lower level demons into his household to make a household, and he would give them their blood, and that's how their skin would turn pale and they would grow white hair. And the marking on their face, that was actually done personally by him. He would actually go to them after they drank his blood, and he would take his fingers and carve it into their face, and he would carve their face and give them those markings. So that was the two rituals that had to be done for you to enter into his household. One, drink his blood, and two, he has to do that marking on your face. And we see that he had a lot of brothers and sisters in the flashback, but of course, through the times, as they failed their missions and got killed by demon slayers, he offed some of them as well for being failures. We already seen what happened to the dad and the mom. That was Tanjiro and Giyuu who did that. But there was this one chick in particular that she looked at the little sister as her real sister, and she was like, this place is deadly, this pathetic family thing is too much. I have a plan to run away, and since I treat you like my real sister, come with me. And she extended her hand to her, and the little sister's like, yeah, sure, I'll leave with you. Unfortunately, the next night when they went to leave, Ryu was there, and she was like confused, like, what are you doing here? You should be on the other side of the mountain like you usually do at this time of the month. Then we found out that the little sister actually betrayed her and snitched on her. And basically what happened to her was that she got beat up by Ryu, but he didn't kill her. Instead, he strung her up all night on top of the house until the sun came out, and the sun is what finished her off. And that was her punishment, death by the sun, which is the number one thing that is the most painful and deadliest towards demons, is sunlight. So that's how she died. And as the sister thinking about this flashback, and that's going through her head, and she's worried because she's a failure herself, and she started finally failure Ryu, because before any mission that Ryu gave her, she always got it right. She never failed it. But this is actually her first time failing, and she's freaking out. And there was even as we seen in the last episode, he even attacked her because her eyes reverted back to human eyes and wasn't demon eyes, and he got upset. He cut her face because of that. So that's already 2 strikes against her. Another one, Review would have most likely killed her. So she's trying to run away, but unfortunately she bumped into a demon slayer, and this demon slayer is the one that was with Tanjiro and them, helping him out. I believe his name is Dan or Machi, something like that. But he's one of the filler characters there, and she puts him in this cocoon, and she said this cocoon is going to release acid that is going to burn away all your clothes first, and then burn your skin to mush, so that way I can absorb you and eat you. And then she just started laughing at him. And then at the same moment where she's laughing at him, Shinobu comes out of nowhere and sneaks up actually behind her and was like, oh, this is an interesting cocoon. Do they only come out from your palms? And she gets freaked out because she didn't even notice or smelled or even first felt her presence there at all. So she got scared and she jumped away. And she was like, who are you? And she's like, no, nothing, just a fellow demon slayer. And they start to rumble. And it's funny because she actually gets beat up real quickly by Shinobu. Shinobu does, like, if anyone played Mortal Kombat, remember that technique that Liu Kang always does, where he runs towards you in the air doing that little kick stuff? Well, technically that's exactly what she did to her, and she stomped her into the ground while doing those kicks. And she was on top of her, and she's like, wanna be friends? And she was like, friends? Then she started begging for her life. Please don't kill me. I was forced to kill people, or Ryu's gonna kill me if I don't. I don't really mean to do this. And she's like, oh, really? What a sad past. Question, before we become friends, how many demons have you killed? I mean, how many humans have you killed? And how many humans have you devoured? And she said, I only killed 5 humans, and I never devoured humans. And she's like, oh, really? Well, interesting, because I was on the west side, and there's all these beautiful cocoons just hanging up, full of demon slayer people in them, already decayed and became mush by the same cocoon that we see here. And basically she was letting her know, I catch you in your lie. So she chugged her off her little sister, and she tried to put her in a cocoon. She disappeared, and she actually ended up behind her. And this is where we get something very interesting. We get Shinobu's technique. Her breathing technique that we saw her use is called insect breathing, and this technique was called the butterfly dance. And basically what it is all these little beautiful butterflies that she summons surrounding you, and as they touch you, they basically, I'm not sure if they biting you or they touching you with their wings, and maybe it's something to do with their wings. They didn't really get to explain the full technique. But as these butterfly passes by you, you become poison. And this poison is super effective and super toxic towards demons. So the little sister got cocky and was like, oh, the tip of your sword is not meant for cutting off demons' heads. This is my head hasn't fallen yet. So this means I can get my chance to attack you from behind. And she wanted to attack her from behind, but that's when the poison kicked in and she died. And Shinobu was able to save the guy stuck in the cocoon. Of course, they kind of make a joke out of him because, he's butt naked now. And she's like, oh, all your clothes melted, but at least your body's intact. And she's kind of checking him out. And then he starts to cover himself, and he starts to moonwalk back. And it was just hilarious. I like Shinobu. I mean, there was that one little instant that she did with Zenitsu last episode that I didn't really like. But she was like, do you need help? And just like, you see him on the floor hurt. Like, why would you even ask that? But as the episode continues, then we get to see the flashback on the perspective of Ryu, and he sees Tanjiro hugging his sister, and he sees himself with a house surrounded by them, and he's on that house just looking down, and he's still perfectly intact, even though this is just in his head, because in reality he got his head cut off by Giyuu. But he's seeing this, and he was like, wow, I wish I had a real family bond so I could remember my past as a human. Because we found out that once he became a demon, thanks to Muzan, he lost all memories of his past. Which is weird, because we've seen one of the other lower 5, we've seen I think lower 6, the drum demon, and he memorized his past completely. So it was kind of weird that this guy couldn't, Ryu, he couldn't remember his past at all. As a human, all he remembers was when he met Muzan, and Muzan turned him into a demon. That's when his memory starts. He doesn't memorize anything before that, so. And he thought if I have a family, maybe the family bond will bring out some memories. So this is why he was so fixated on having a family. Unfortunately, it just the way he thought about having a family and how family should go didn't really work out for him, and in the end, he wound up dead. And that was pretty much the episode. Really good episode. I love the fact that we got some Shinobu and Giyuu action, and we get to see their techniques. We already know that Giyuu had water breathing techniques just like Tanjiro, but the fact that he has an 11th form, something that Tanjiro didn't even know that exists, that's very, very impressive. And we do know that in the Demon Slayer Corps, there's different ranks of Demon Slayers, so we don't know who Shinobu and Giyuu, we don't know their ranks yet, but if I have to imagine, I'll probably say they somewhere around the elite level. Just guessing, because in the anime opening, when we see all the elites, there's only 2 that we can actually see, which is Shinobu and Giyuu. Everybody else is like shutted out. So, and it's nice to see that Shinobu comes from a family of people who make medicine, poisons, and this is basically how her family fights. So I guess everyone in her family has some type of insect breathing technique. That's probably their main style, and they probably are the creators of that. Kind of how like Tanjiro, last episode, we found out that his dad's family was the one who made the Sundance technique. So that's pretty interesting. I can't wait for that to be explained more, and for us to get more into the family backstory and how all these different demon corpse and breathing techniques, how they came about and their history. Because we haven't learned the history of the breathing techniques. We know they exist and they have special abilities and properties, but we don't know who are their creators and what the history behind them really are. So that's going to be interesting when we finally learn that. But that's all I have for you. Tell me what you like and didn't like about the episode, and how you felt about it, and what you thought about Shinobu and Giyuu, and how do you feel about the brother and sister thing and the whole family dynamic. But that's all I have for you. Peace on. Have a good one.